Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So the update is live and we do have Gamora buff, and such as it is, as always, I will compare the damage output before the buff, after the buff, without the synergy team, with the synergy team. So let's get to it. I don't want to spend too much time on this one because obviously the buff is relatively underwhelming. But let's just check exactly how underwhelming. So this is before her so-called buff. And for those of you who do not know how Gamora works, basically whenever you land your mediums and lights, you get cruelties and furies respectively. And you can refresh them with your heavy attacks. Now the duration is not too long at all, as you can see. However, the longer the fight goes, the duration gets increased as well. Now, the way the duration is getting increased pretty much is exactly the same, except it scales not every 5 seconds as it is before the buff. After the buff, it scales every second, and it is slightly faster. But the overall duration and max duration is exactly the same as it was before. Some more changes that have happened to her is if she has at least 10 buffs, she can bypass miss, which is going to be practically impossible to use because in generic circumstances you have to be like super aggressive in order to be able to get to 10 buffs in the first place, and that's unlikely if opponent has a chance to miss. And well, basically nothing really has changed. There are some numbers tweaked in between the potency of cruelties and furies and in between potency of armor break, but they're not even like significant bonuses. In fact, potencies have gone down. For armor break, duration has increased after the buff, and same for fury and cruelty. They have pretty much stayed the same, or how the potency is slightly decreased because you have higher chance to proc them. But it's still extremely RNG reliant, and it's not a major, massive difference either. So the problem, as you can see here with Gamora, is I can't really get to a point where I can land my regular combos freely, because I at the same time need to land in my heavy attacks to refresh whatever I have built up, and I need to bait out Winter Soldier's special attacks and all that other good stuff. So 110 hits in, I have done much more heavy spamming, and at this point I'm actually starting to lose some of those buffs as well, because you just cannot realistically, without synergies, without some additional help, maintain those shorter buffs that you gained at the beginning. Also, whenever you refresh the furies, it would appear that it does not apply the extended fury and cruelty duration for the ones that you have triggered at first. So quite frequently, the first furies that you trigger will be the ones that you also end up dropping down. Later on, if you have triggered your fury like a minute in the fight, it lasts longer, it's easier to keep up. At this point, we can see 144 hits. I have like 6 cruelties, 5 furies, and at least now I'm able to play slightly more freely because I don't have to worry as much about my initial fury and cruelty buffs. I think the best strategy, to be honest, going forward is just to ignore whatever buffs you trigger within first 30, 40, 50 seconds, and then start trying to maintain them, because otherwise you only end up spamming heavy attacks, which has kind of always been the Gamora's problem, that it's just unrealistic to play her. And let's see how we do here. 178 hits, very neat, I guess. We have 10 cruelties, 7 furies, so I need to land in a heavy attack to refresh them. Very good, and we're about to finish them. So this is definitely not the greatest fight in existence, and also the fact that Winter Soldier has relatively long special attacks, it really does not help. I'm gonna go back against Captain Marvel, and we're gonna see that it's gonna be significantly quicker here. I'm gonna let the first few buffs fall off as well, but since I am able to be a lot more aggressive against Captain Marvel, because her special animations are a lot shorter, even though I did mess up at the beginning, I will be able to close out this fight significantly faster, because I don't need to worry about as much about spamming the heavy attack, and I can use my special attacks and heavy attacks and regular combos. Everything basically is more freely. It's less stressful, because Winter Soldier special attacks are actually quite slow compared to Captain Marvel. So you can land more of your basic combos, and Gamora is kind of like an easier champion to play with. The problem is that all the newer champions typically have really long special attack animations, and that means that Gamora is once again much harder to play. This is pretty much a perfect matchup for Gamora in a sense that, yeah, special attacks are super quick, and you can be ultra aggressive. Any new champions, that is not the case. But here we are, 14 Furies, 15 Furies, 11 Cruelties, and the fight is over. And the difference in that fight duration is quite significant, 121 from 180. But now let's check out let's check out with the full synergy team. With the full synergy team, it's much easier to keep your Cruelties and Furies active. So basically the effect is similar as we were fighting against Captain Marvel movie. And all of these fights are pre-buff, keep that in mind. And we can see that Winter Soldier is going down significantly quicker with the synergy team. I'm also using White Magneto pre-fight ability that gives me increased ability accuracy. So I should be proccing more Furies and more Cruelties. And this fight is significantly quicker because I had like 55% increase Fury duration. And I also had increased ability accuracy, increased attack, all that good stuff. So with full synergy team, we can see that there is significant improvement in damage, but that's not the only thing. The main thing is there is a significant improvement in her playability as well, because you don't need to spam your heavy attacks as frequently, so you can ramp up faster, and you can be kind of like more safe. With the full synergy team, she actually might potentially be usable in some more tricky matchups against champions with longer special attack animations. Problem is, if you have to bring a full synergy team for Gamora, why would you? Similar with like Thor Ragnarok. When you synergize up Thor Ragnarok with a full synergy team, he's a relatively decent champion. Why would you spend 5 champion slots to make one champion relatively decent? Not gonna happen. So I think I got tagged somewhere there in the beginning, but here I'm gonna drop another heavy attack. She's at like 1% health. And we can see how long was this fight. 122. Now let's go after the buff. So here, buff has already happened, right? So this is the new and improved Gamora. We clearly saw the downfalls of pre-buff Gamora. Now we're going to have a chance to look at post-buff Gamora. I don't even know actually why I'm showing you this, because it's exactly the same. So with synergy, we had like, what, 120 something hits in the first pre-buff with synergy. So this is post-buff. Everything's exactly the same. Armor break duration is slightly longer, but potency is lower. And this is 123. That's full synergy team. And against Captain Marvel movie, full synergy team. We're going to see it in a second. I'm going to go for level 2 here. Nearly there. I think I got tagged in the beginning somewhere there. Right, so here we go. 114. And Winter Soldier fight is 123. Take a look now. $116. So pre-buff, we actually did it faster against Winter Soldier, and I think slightly slower against Captain Marvel movie version. And it's all RNG based basically. So pre-buff, we did exactly the same, arguably slightly faster in the harder matchup with the full synergy team. Let's see if she's any better without synergy team. And she isn't. She really isn't. That's a buff. She plays exactly the same. Like, so 156, before we had like 160. Or something. And against Captain Marvel, I actually mess up against Captain Marvel movie version, but I wanted to showcase one difference is that she always had a true strike on her level 3, But now the only kind of noticeable difference is that you can keep the true strike for the entire fight, because you can also refresh the true strike. You can refresh all of your buffs. Now with the heavy attack, that's like the biggest change with her. So there might be some interesting interactions with some nodes, but in kind of generic sandbox environment, it's exactly the same type of thing. It's such a shame. It would be so easy to make her much more viable. Give her Wasp's passive stun at end of combos to let her refresh quicker. A slightly longer Fury duration. There's so many things that you can do so easily and make her actually playable. But it's a shame. I don't want to turn this into another rant, but the base idea is that the changes to Gamora's damage and her playability are effectively non-existent. Kind of knew that already, kind of suspected already, but I just wanted to verify. And it sucks. I like Gamora, to be honest. She was my first 3-star champion. For like several months, I played Gamora day in and day out. She was my strongest champion, the only 3-star, and then the highest ranked 3-star. And I just wanted her to be at least decent, at least a little bit better. There's no difference at all whatsoever. Either way, let's check out Miles Morales next. See you soon, guys. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about